somewhere in the early 2000s, my ex-boss gave me a call and he said, why don't you join me in this company? He had joined a new organization and he asked me to join there. He told me that he had a new position for me. I asked him the name of the company. He told me the name and I said, no, I'm not going to join this company. He asked me why. I said, I'm not going to join a company whose founder, the owner of the company, is going to get into huge financial difficulties. No, I'm not going to get into that. And I didn't join that company. And the owner of the company later on went on into huge financial difficulties. And he's none other than Anil Ambani. I'm telling you now this, I have never written about this. In fact, all my students know this. I have, since 2008, I've been writing articles on sports and political astrology, but I never wrote about financial astrology. And this is one story which people never came to know. But now, at this point of time, I'm going to talk about another gentleman who also has planets which is very, very similar to Anil Ambani. And so nobody warned me. I got this warning from the planets, okay, and I sort of backed off. And there are so many investors, so many people who are dependent on this person's organizations. And I would say that, this is time for me to really give them this warning. Okay, I'm talking about this particular patch, which is between 1958 to 1962. People who are born between 1958 to 1962, even in the last quarter of 1957, they're born with the planet Pluto. The planet Pluto, the most powerful planet in the universe, is in a situation called as grey lizard. It's a grey lizard patch. This is a time when the planet Pluto is somewhere between 8 to 12 degrees, okay, 12, 13, 14 degrees. Now, this patch is something which is very, very phenomenal. What it does is it makes a person go through extreme life stages. A person can go through extraordinary ups and downs. I can give you some various examples. I can give you example of, let's say, one of the biggest examples that we can talk about in India is Sanjay Dutt. Sanjay Dutt is born in 1959, and you know what he has gone through, right? His mother, dying of cancer, to him being jailed, and then he himself going through cancer. His life has gone through huge ups and downs. He is a very unfortunate child of grey lizard, the grey lizard patch. We can talk about a Princess Diana, okay, who died very young. We can talk about a Maradona. He won the World Cup. Okay, he was a great legendary player, but then he died very early. See, some of the greatest leaders, political leaders who were born during this patch become the heads of nation. When they become the heads of nation, or when they become the head of a state, when the state or when that country is going to go through some huge terrible time, that is when they become the heads. If I want to give an example, it can be Barack Obama, who became the president of America when America was going through one of the worst economic crises. Okay, and he has Pluto in the 8,000. 8,000 is all about managing other people's money. So when America was going through the worst economic crisis, he's handling the money. For other people means the entire people. It's for him, it's other people, right? So he was managing their money. He was managing the country. He was pushing the country out of this recession, the worst recession. He was a 1961 born. Okay, or it can be even our Nirmala Sitharaman, okay, who is now our economic, the finance minister. And I will be worried till she remains a finance minister, because till she remains a finance minister, then there is something which is happening in the country which is not very good for the economy, and she is at the helm of affairs and she is managing that situation. Okay, even if you're talking about Uddhav Thackeray, he became the chief minister of Maharashtra when Maharashtra was going through one of the worst crises, which is COVID. We know that. So what I'm trying to tell you is that people who are born during this time, they go through extraordinarily tough times. I can give a lot of examples. This grey lizard patch has already produced in India, has created some industrialists who have already gone through some tough times. I mean, if we can talk about Kishore Biyani, for example, born in 1961. He is like one time, he created one of the greatest business models in the country. Okay, his creation was amazing, it was wonderful, it was path breaking. But then at this point of time, we know that he is under huge trouble. Okay, we can talk about a Gautam Thapar, who has also been through something very similar. We can talk about we can talk about Chanda Kochar, who may not be a business owner, but then she was the leader of one of the largest financial institutions, and we know what has happened to her. So basically, people born during these patches, and especially if they are at the helm of affairs, they are going to be managing situations which are going to be extraordinary, and many times extraordinarily it can be bad. Okay, so that is the problem. Okay, so now let's talk about this gentleman in focus, and that is Gautam Adani. Now when I was talking about Gautam Adani in my book, also I've written about a prediction about him. And people were telling me, like, why Gautam Adani? There are like so many people in the country. Why are you talking about him? Okay, especially why are you talking about him when he is like the richest person in the country? Okay, now that exactly is what is worrying me. He is the richest man in the country. See, if it would have been a normal situation, if I was born in any other years, I wouldn't be worried, I wouldn't be bothered, I would have thought that, oh, it's a natural phenomenon, it's a good phenomenon, it is something good for the country, it is good for the economy, it's good for the people who are working for him, it's good for the people who are invested in him. Fantastic, it's good for everyone. So I wouldn't have made a video on that. But why am I making a video now? It's because a Gautam Adani at the helm of affairs, when he is a 1962 born, is a worrying factor. Because see, when people go up, okay, when the mightier, when they fall, the damages are very, very huge, isn't it? Okay, now he is becoming huge. Gautam Adani is like, he's huge. It was initially infrastructure, then airports, and then ports, and power, and so many things that he's into. And all of these organizations are employing thousands of people, and so many shareholders who are dependent and who are making money. And you can see that his shares are really having a bull run. I am also invested in some of the shares of his companies. Okay, so make hay while the sun shines. But the point is that the question is still when it is going to shine. That is the question, because it finally will come to an end. Okay, and the end can be really bad. Okay, so if I'm going to compare it, how is it going to be? The fall could be as bad as Anil Ambani's. Okay. It can be as bad as Gautam Thapar's, or it can be as worse as Kishore Biyani's. So the point is, people who are born in this grey lizard patch, they will soar to high positions, they will reach heights. See, only if you reach heights, then you can fall, right? So he will reach heights. The companies are already doing extremely well, and they'll reach a point, and something will go wrong. Okay, see, now at this point of time, I don't know what will go wrong. Maybe the people who are working in the company, maybe people who are at the very senior most level in the company, they will know what is happening. Maybe, like the organization seems to be so huge. The organizations actually, okay. Gautam Adani has so many group of companies. So in those organizations, maybe something is happening which they know. Okay, maybe this entire thing is there is something, it's a facade, maybe, there is something which is within the organization which is very, very there is nothing there, it's just a vacuum, or there is some problem which is there, and maybe the base is not strong, maybe something is wrong, and something can suddenly collapse, and it can lead to a bloodbath. Okay, and people, investors, employees will be in trouble. The employees will not be paid salary, or the shareholders will lose their shares, and the company will get into a lot of trouble, financial trouble, the debts, they can get into so many such situations. Okay, see, Gautam had already been through some challenges with Australia. He was trying to do something in ports in Australia. There were many oppositions for that. That is only a tip of the iceberg. I would say that things will really go bad. I'll tell you the years when it can really go bad. That is between 2025 to 2027, 28, or maybe till 29. That is a patch. 25 to 28 is a patch when the planet Pluto is actually going to go into the grey lizard patch. So where it was exactly, he was born in the grey lizard patch, and this time also it will go into the grey lizard patch. And that is the patch when it can really create him some trouble. Okay, and it will lead to repercussions, which can even bring this entire Adani group down. So he's one of the richest person in the world, he's the richest man in the country, but I feel that he may not be able to hold on to the position for long because he's a grey lizard. Okay, and Mr. Mukesh Ambani will once again spring back to number one. And not just that, I mean, I'm expecting some people who were born in the 1950s and even in the 1960s, the late 60s, I mean 65, 66 plus, okay, or maybe in the 70s, they will come into the limelight and they will grow the ladder, because a 1962 born person being the richest person in the country is an aberration, and it is something to really, really worry about. So then what should you do? What should you do as an investor? Okay, I would say that don't worry immediately. Okay, there is nothing to worry immediately. If you're looking at this video in 2022, May, June, whatever, what you do is stay invested. Okay, because Gautam's group of companies, they're all growing very well, and if you're invested, you're making money, you make money. And you do it, stay invested till 2025. Okay, or I would say till the end of 2024. And then you take a call. Okay, I'm going to make videos at that point of time, and I'm going to talk about what should you do. Okay, especially a grey lizard owned, the owner is a grey lizard, you definitely need to exit. When to exit, what to do, what exactly do, I'll tell you, talk about all of those things later. But if you're already in a company where you feel that there is some sort of a trouble, then exit those companies. If you're making good money, there are some companies, I mean, like within 6 months your money has been doubled. If you're invested, especially in power, for example, I would say stay invested, stay till 2024 end. Okay, and in somewhere in 25, let's take a call. You and I will take a call. Okay, so we're going to be making such videos on people, personalities, events which are going to impact money, your money and my money. So please do subscribe to my channel so that you will be one of those persons to get to know first.